Okay. Welcome, everybody. Really happy to see you. My name is Veronica Bolevsky. I think I've emailed with most of you here and maybe seen you in person at some point. So good to see you all online. I'm here with Emma Shubin, one of our co-hosts. And I'll be kicking off this meeting, but then Emma will be taking over because I actually have to run off and take care of an errand. So this is meetup number 79. And we're just happy to be going strong and continuing this conversation and have you all here. Um, we usually break out into small rooms of two or three people and just say hello, introduce yourselves. So if you would tell people your name and where you are, because we're all over the world, and who you teach or who you used to teach or who you wish you could teach. And we'll give you about 2 minutes for that.
Here we go. Off you go. Go ahead and join. Hey, Catherine, I'm assigning you to breakout room 2 to join people who are saying hello to each other. So if you click join, you should have gotten a little something pop up.
Got evicted.
Welcome back, everybody. True to form, it always feels too short. I wanted to say hello, although my internet is being a little bit slow. So Veronica, maybe I should let you carry on.
Yeah, I'll do the announcements and then we'll be ready to hear from Allison and Lara. Um, so we have had a lovely season of short courses and master classes, and there's one more coming up that is publicly announced, and then we're working already on the schedule for 2025. So the one that's coming up in a week is with Jerison Lee, and Jerison is based in Singapore. He studied in Geneva and now is kind of working on building up the practice in Singapore where he's based. And he will be talking about the Dalcroze scale. And so I was thinking about who might be interested in this. And I think for myself as a musician, I know that the way that the Dalcroze scale in Dalcroze practice has been taught to me, it's opened up my ears, right? And so kind of in terms of personal growth as a musician, um, I think it just is another way to work on solfege. But then also if you teach some solfege topics or if you teach students and you're trying to give them some new ways of thinking about things or listening, I think his master class is gonna give you some tools and new ways of thinking about it. So I'm sure that could be applied both to working with kids and working with adults and professionals or amateurs. It's lovely to see people just coming away from these masters. I can do that with whoever I'm working with, or oh, I can go work on that and practice a little bit on my own and develop my own musicianship just a little bit at a time. Um, so usually we have a few presenters and we give them 5 minutes or maybe 5 to 7 minutes back to back. And just initial ideas, and then we'll have a discussion afterwards where we'll discuss both presentations and they'll be talking more as you guys have questions or comments or thoughts. It's usually a very lively discussion. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm so grateful to Allison and Lara for being our presenters today. So um, I I think I can be the timekeeper for Allison, but I think by Lara's turn, Emma, I might need you to take over.
Okay.
And I'll just give you a 1 minute warning.
We have a couple announcements though beyond that. I just also wanted to say that
Oh, I'm
we
so
have
sorry. Go ahead.
our submission for the ICDS, which is the International Conference on Velcro Studies 7, is coming up this week. November 15th is the official deadline, but you guys are the first ones to know hot off the press that we're extending it to December 3rd. So we have a couple extra weeks. You all should come. It's in Luxembourg at the University of Luxembourg, which is where I'm currently studying. And it's going to be a really, really fabulous conference. And so we hope to welcome you here. The theme is building bridges, and you get to hear about all different aspects of the Dalcroze work as related to many adjacent practices, the research side of things, the practice side of things, new developments within the field. So we hope you'll come and join us.
Awesome. Thank you, Emma. Sorry, I missed that one. Okay, so we'll start with Allison. Allison, I'll give you a 1-minute warning, and then we'll go on to Lara.
Okay, am I okay to share some slides, please?
Absolutely. I think Emma will need to.
If I send you a request.
You are now the host, Veronica, so you just have to make Allison the co-host or give her permission.
Is that working?
Yes, great.
Oh, thanks, David. Okay, so I thought, first of all, I'll just give you some really brief context as to how I came to the Dalcroze work and what my connection is to taking Feldenkrais lessons. So academic work is something that I've always felt comfortable with. That's something that I did well at school. I also love music, and that led me to study music from an academic standpoint at Cambridge and Durham. I trained as a teacher, but maybe not totally linked to this academic background, this thinking very deeply, this wanting to try very hard. I ended up with a couple of health challenges. I developed repetitive strain injury from playing cello, and I also had chronic fatigue syndrome for 5-6 years, which was extremely debilitating. I couldn't work, I couldn't play. Thankfully, I was able, with help, to recover from the chronic fatigue, and I built up a practice.
Awesome. Please keep going.
Okay. As part of developing my teaching practice, I loved going on courses, and I was lucky enough to take part in a couple of Dalcroze workshops. The second of which was with Bethan Habron-James, who is one of our UK diploma teachers. And she just totally inspired me, and I just thought, I want to be this person. I want to do this. So I took my Dalcroze professional certificate. I went to evening classes at the Royal Northern College of Music in Manchester and studied with Bethan and also Karen Greenhead and Katie Waring. Still wanted to know more, went on Dalcroze UK spring schools, summer schools, and then was very lucky enough to hook up with a wonderful international group of people, including Professor Bewley here, including David. And the main thing that was recommended for me to do for personal study and my own development was to work on my quality of movement and to take Feldenkrais lessons. So I came back and I found myself a teacher. I live in Yorkshire. I found a brilliant teacher called Liz Shepherd in York. She does weekly term time classes, and I also take one-to-one lessons every few weeks with her. And I can remember my first lesson with Liz so clearly. We did the tiniest movements with our feet, and to be honest, I was thinking, what is this going to do? What difference could this possibly make? I just remember standing up at the end of that lesson, and I felt like I was in a different body. I felt so much more connected into my body, and I was completely hooked from lesson 1. And I've been taking classes ever since, so that's 7.5 years now. And thankfully, Liz was able to move her practice online when the COVID pandemic was upon us, and a lot of the work that she does is still online now, although she still offers in-person work. Just very briefly, there are 2 ways of learning Feldenkrais. So you can take part in awareness through movement classes where the teacher guides you verbally, and there's a whole series of questions and lots of little challenges for your body. There's also functional integration where the teacher actually is hands-on with you and she shows your body physically, this is what you're doing. Are you aware there could be different ways of moving, different patterns to explore? So having done this for quite a while now, I think some of the biggest things that I'm learning is my body can learn. So in my dark coast training, I've had a huge amount of admiration for people who move beautifully, people who have a dance background. And I've looked at them and thought, wow, that's amazing. My body doesn't seem to work that way. I've had injury, I've had illness. I just don't seem to be able to move that freely. And Feldenkrais has taught me that we can still learn these things. We can still find easier ways to move as an adult. Also, in the process of being guided through questions, actually a lot of what I find out with guidance is me exploring, me finding out. So I've learned that I can work things out through for myself in movement, which has been an absolute revelation. Another huge one for me is that I learned this when I'm not striving. So having done all the academic side of things, and if I didn't grasp something straight away, I would try harder, I would really push myself. But actually in Feldenkrais, we need to relax, we need to be gentle with ourselves, and we stay within what's comfortable, and then our brain, our nervous system is able to pick up on tiny little differences and notice that there are other possibilities and ways to move. And also just to learn to actually enjoy learning, to enjoy the process of learning, and that it can be fun, it can be creative. And yes, when I feel I can move better in my Dalcroze class and I can learn more in my Dalcroze class, that is absolutely wonderful. But I just love the Feldenkrais lessons in and of themselves, which has been a big difference for me from how I've learned before. Here we go. So particularly huge areas of learning for me, the feet, my feet literally suspension was released in my feet, and I had to buy new shoes because they were literally wider, which still makes me smile. It's made a big difference to my breathing. I'm asthmatic and my chest has opened up more. Sometimes at the end of a Feldenkrais lesson, I'll initially feel a little bit short of breath, which can feel quite disconcerting, but I have learned that my nervous system will then help everything to reorganize and my breath will clear quite quickly. Also, as somebody who didn't crawl very much as a baby, I have learned we do quite a lot of movement patterns that you would do as a baby, as a toddler, and to actually go back over some things that I think I skipped when I was very tiny has been a huge help. And also in terms of the repetitive strain, I think that's been a bit of a game changer in terms of being able to use my arms and my upper body more efficiently. So thinking about the Dalcroze training in particular, I feel that I can connect more into the music. I feel I can literally feel the music more when I move. I can show more of what's happening in the music through my body. And also I'm finding I can learn more through my body. So definitely when I first came to Dalcroze training, if there was something like a dictation, I would probably find the rhythm in my head first of all and then work out how to move it, whereas I'm beginning to be able to do that the other way around now and actually find rhythms through the body first of all. I'm learning to trust myself more. I'm learning that a challenge can be something interesting rather than something terrifying, and I'm learning to just stay calm and go, okay, I'm finding this really difficult. What's my first step? What can I do next? And actually thinking back to that academic Alison, that at school Alison at university, I've realized that when my whole body gets involved, I can actually think more clearly, and that's helping beyond Dalcroze as well. In terms of being a Dalcroze teacher, I am starting to feel more confident teaching through movement. So I feel more able to demonstrate. When I work with my students, I feel more able to help them if they need to develop something so that they can experience something more clearly through movement. In particular, when I'm leading warm-ups, I'm starting to be more exploratory with that, asking more questions, giving people space so that they can actually also start to experience that, finding things for themselves. I'm finding that when I'm designing my teaching ideas, it's feeling more creative because I feel more at home in here. I feel more at home in my body. And also I love improvising for movement, and that as my body becomes more at home with the movements, the connection between the playing and the movement is deepening. So in terms of thinking about where would I like to take this further? I'm just really enjoying the lessons, and I'm really just looking forward to what's next. What am I going to learn next? Just keep developing, keep growing. I want to be able to continue to integrate everything that I'm learning from the Feldenkrais into my teaching so that I can keep building my teaching practice. And then in particular for our license training, one of our things that we do is to do a personal project. So this is to explore an area of particular interest to me and to make connections with Dalcroze Eurythmics and the ideas of Émile Jacques Dalcroze. So this is something that I am taking and looking into. I'd like to interview people who I've studied with, talk to my teachers, get their feedback as well. So to be able to really explore what is it about taking the Feldenkrais lessons that's made such a difference to my own movement and my own teaching, and is continuing to do so. And then just finally, I just had a couple of links for people. So if people were interested to know a little bit more about Feldenkrais, it's really similar to the Dalcroze in that the best way to learn about it is to go and do it. But there are some really lovely articles on the feldenkrais.co.uk website. And also there's a really nice article on the US Feldenkrais website that I think really helps to explain what the Feldenkrais experience is like, and a little bit of the background as to what's going on in the nervous system and how and why that works. There's also a Feldenkrais research journal, and issue 6 is particularly interesting because they're looking at how that can connect to creativity. And there's an article by a piano teacher called Alan Fraser. Also starting to make links back to our music. That's a really nice one to look at.
Thank you so much, Alison. Lovely. I was just enthralled, and you seemed like you were on a roll, so I just let you finish.
Thank you.
Beautiful presentation. I'm going to stop the recording. Emma, you can restart it, and then we'll go on to Laura. Laura, sorry, I have to miss yours. Have a great meetup, everybody, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you, guys. I'm so sorry that my computer is a little slow today. So Laura, whenever you're ready, do you need power? Do you need to be able to share your screen? And just so you know, you are muted at the moment. So I'm just going to ask you to unmute, and that might help. It should pop something up for you. There you go.
Is it right
Emma,
now?
just remember to record.
It says it is recording, so I think
I
it's
stopped recording.
yes. For some reason, it didn't yell it at the beginning. I don't know. All right, Laura, thank you for being here today. We're excited to hear your presentation.
Okay, thank you everyone. And I think here I know many people, so hello everyone. And so 2 years ago, I was at Malou's place. Malou was Eurythmic teachers in Geneva, long time ago. So now she's in her 90s something. And in an evening, my husband asked Malou, actually, how do you explain Eurythmics? What is Eurythmics is all about? And Malou said, well, let's do 2 exercises. Experience are always better than, just verbal explanation. And she showed 2 things, 2 simple. Well, first thing is simple. Second one less on the table. And that was very interesting. The first one, maybe most of you know. I'm not sure the second one, but I think the first one is a preparation for the second one. So I have the idea to do that with you together. I feel too bad. Wait a minute. I do some because I have to have my hands a little up, even more. No problem. So remember, we did it on the table with 2 hands on the table. Yeah, And so, well, actually, we can do. I think the classic position is sitting on the floor. We saw that with children in some eurythmic films. So from the beginning, it's simple like this. Yeah. Do you know this exercise? Okay, go with me, please. So you see, I settle a tempo. We can do, of course, change the tempo, but we will do right now like this one. And when I will say right hand will stop once and then continue. And if I say left, that's the left hand who will stop once and continue. Okay? Let's go. Okay. Da, da, da. I can improvise some music. Da, 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 da. Boom, boom. Right. Continue. Right. Okay, I come to a short stop. What happens? Have you have you picked up the idea? Yes? So we can do it a little bit quicker, maybe. So actually, the position, the beginning position is symmetrical, but every once you say left or right, then you start to have a symmetrical position for a while until the next time one of the two hands is cold again. So let's go again. 1, dum, da, dum, bum, da, 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 dum, ba, dum, bum, bum, left. Da, 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 bum, da, 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 dum, da, dum, ba, bum, ba, bum, right. Dum, bum, 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 right. Da, bum, 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 left. Da, bum, bum, da, 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 bum. You can do with a recording music, if you have a musician, a friend beside, that's also possible, but we can do also in silence. Actually, with Malou, we have done that in silence. Right. And stop. Okay, I forget to say, Malou always said that in a eurythmic lesson, if there is no fun, then it's not a good lesson. So, so I try to find the fun in every exercise that we do together. So the second one, well, I need more space. Okay, the second one, there's left side, well, actually for you, right side. Okay, right side, middle, and left. Okay, so we'll do both hands together symmetrically, left, middle, right, left, middle, right, and several times. Of course, we can change starting point. I choose this one. And when I will call one of the two hands, this hand will stop too, but then it will cause something very strange in the space, in the orientation. That's C. So we start again. Left. No, for you is right. Is it? No, for you is left. What is that? For you is right. Yeah, okay. Right, sorry. Middle, left, right, middle, left, right, middle, left, right, right. Right. Stop. Do I know what happened for you? What do you feel? What is surprising for you? Is there some? If you want to say something, I don't know. Or if I just continue a little bit, I continue for a while. Okay. What?
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't sure when you said right, what happened?
Okay. So
Oops.
for example, I'm here. Let me say I'm here. So next step, normally both are in the middle. Yeah. But if from here I call right, and the right will stay in place, then you'll have cross. Because the direction is the same, but you delay to one hand. So you will be like this for next step, and next, and next, next, next. Maybe now I can call, let me say left. Oh, no, right for you. Left, I think. Left for you. And now I call left. So next time it will be again together. Then we can go for a while, for several times until next challenge.
So it
So,
delays, does it delay that hand by kind of one count? And yes, Heather, I
yes,
think that.
only one.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's why you will have, because you have a challenge of cross hand, but advancing in the same direction. And on certain moment, they are not in the same direction because one have to come back. That's why, well, Veronica asked me the title of this meetups. At the beginning, I said, "Oh, space management," but then I think, well, it's not exactly space management, but it's orientation. It's something like coordination, orientation, both together.
So yeah, there's a question in the chat that if you stop the right 3 times, you'd get back to the beginning. I think that's correct, right, Lara?
Exactly, yeah, or left hand, the same, exactly. So that's the kind of things we can vary the tempo. We can use music or not. We can be sitting on a chair with a table, sitting on the floor. But I think we can probably find some possibility in standing while moving. I think I have trained myself sometimes when I walk in garden or whatever. So I just do. Let me say, I just do. So you can advance in space, and while doing that, of course, it's probably more complicated, but why not? Yeah.
Yeah, there
So-
was a question in the chat of you know
Don't
what
see chat.
it's okay. No. That's why I'm saying it out loud. So a question of like what your feet could do. So it sounds like you could try the same activity while walking. And I imagine you could even try giving different signals for the feet. And then Dorita had said, when a hand is called, does the other hand stop while the called hand begins?
Next, you just stop once. It's the same then in this one, no? You call right, just once, then you start again. So if you put the hand
But
here,
the other hand will continue on no matter what.
yes, exactly.
So it's kind of like Lara, if you don't mind me sharing one thought that I had is it's kind of like an on-off switch, but just for one beat. So if you call
Yes.
it pauses, and then it continues on as if it had never stopped. But because the other hand continues, it's in a different place than it was.
Exactly.
It reminds me Lisa had an exercise that was very, very simple, maybe even a little simpler than this. It was a similar kind of a situation where it was like an on-off switch. So if you said hands, your hands would start clapping. If you said hands, your hands would stop clapping. If you said feet, your feet would start walking. If you said feet, your feet would stop walking. So it was like an on-off switch with the same signal. And she used it quite a bit in seniors classes, where then they would have to inhibit or excite, an inhibition and excitation kind of an exercise. It was very interesting. So this reminds me of that, but the use of space and the independence of the hands makes this one level more difficult, I would say.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Heather. So Heather has a question for Laura, if that's okay. And Laura, did you have anything else that you wanted to show us, or was that?
No, we can do it again, but actually, if we want to discuss, we can go straight away. Huh?
Okay, so why don't we'll let Heather go first because she has a question for Laura, and then we'll open up for questions for both of our presenters. So Heather says, have you tried it like a 9 in a dice? Heather, do you mind unmuting yourself and saying a little bit more about that? Because I think that could be very interesting what you're talking about. Sorry to.
No, that's fine. No worries. No, I was just thinking, have you tried it with different spaces? Because then you could go like, it could be kind of like doing interesting patterns like a graph or something. Like in the middle. I don't know, maybe I'm making it ridiculously complicated. It's a very elegant, beautiful exercise. Thank you for sharing. But I'm just like, oh, maybe we could do it up here too. And then
Interesting.
4.
So you're thinking like a dot grid where you have dot.
Like a 9. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's 6 directions that you could go, the diagonals and then along each side. That's not complicated at all. Just
That's not, yeah. It's like a strange game of Connect 4 or Connect 3. I don't know. Sorry, maybe I should have another 2 sets of hands to do it. Anyway, but thank you for sharing. It's really cool. I've never heard of this before.
Sorry.
Thank you so much for both of our presenters. So I'd like to open up the floor for questions or comments or responses. Allison, it's so beautiful to hear about your work. I have heard and experienced a lot about the connection between Feldenkrais and Dalcroze and attention, the development of attention. And Laura, this is such a beautiful example of where you would have to have this kind of connection between your attention and movement. And so I think this is such a lovely pairing. So yes, Dorita, it looks like you maybe have something.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Allison if do you feel that the Feldenkrais is more of a mindful approach to movement, whereas Dalcroze is more a music approach to movement?
I think there's definitely a link between the two. So Feldenkrais is very, very mindful, yes. Yes. We begin by lying on the floor and literally just spending time really just allowing the body to settle and tuning into the body. And then all the little movements, all the little challenges, all the games that we play are from a standpoint of being very tuned into the body, really sensing what's happening within the body. And then I can take that heightened sensation, that greater freedom of movement that I'm developing from the Feldenkrais into the Dalcroze work, and to be able to sense much more musically through my body. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, because I'm familiar with both Feldenkrais and, of course, the Dalcroze. But as I heard you speak, I thought that the Feldenkrais segment is completely about within your body, whereas the Dalcroze is more external, of taking the music within your body. So I wanted to hear how you felt about that. But thank you.
I think for me that what the Feldenkrais has unlocked for me is actually the internal music. So being able to connect way more that the music, the way we move our bodies, the music is in there, and to be able to listen to music or to make music and to sense that resonate through my body, to feel rhythm through my body. I talked about my feet being much freer. Movement can travel more freely through my whole body as my chest is freer and I can move my upper body more. I think it's both. I think it's external, but there's also something happening internally which is really deepening my musical experience and the way that I can work and make music with others.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead, Laura.
Okay, so I just want to share also my my observation with both Feldenkrais and Dalcroze, because I'm also a Feldenkrais practitioner. In 2005, I gave a workshop for music. Well, actually, they're not only musicians, but normally it was for musicians in the Dalcroze Congress. And well, I have to reverse something. Sorry. I start from the beginning. So in my Dalcroze experience, I have often observed that people have a very quick organization, coordination, but the quality is not always the most effortless. And in 2005, when I gave this workshop of Feldenkrais to musicians, I just take some part of eurythmic exercise and I put in my workshop. And for my surprise, I saw that Feldenkrais people, because usually in Feldenkrais, there's no time. We take all the time to explore, to coordinate. So when there's a limitation of the time, when there's a question of timing to produce a certain coordination, most of them are lost. So I think that's actually it's a good combination to have both.
Thank you so much for sharing, Laura. It's so interesting that we do have many perhaps practitioners among us that we are unaware of. So I'm glad you guys are connecting here today. Anyone else have something they'd like to ask or share or something observed? Yes. Marlius. Oh, here, I'll ask you to unmute. Oh, there you go.
It's okay. So just to come back to what you have been talking now, do I understand this explanation or talking about the difference between Feldenkrais and Dalcroze? Could you describe it as with Feldenkrais, it is more, like you said, Lara, the quality of the movement itself in the body, or as you say, Alison, the functions of the breath and to be able to listen, to be able to move, so the functions itself and the quality of that. And Dalcroze is more focused with that tool to establish a better quality of music. Do I get it well this way? Because I'm just interested.
That's a lovely way to put it. Yes. So in Feldenkrais, what I'm sure Laura can expound on this, is as well, what I'm learning is that the body is set up to move in patterns. So one little bit of our body doesn't just move on its own in isolation. Everything's connected. And before I took the Feldenkrais lessons, I think I had almost like a Barbie doll image of my body, almost like things moved by themselves. And the Feldenkrais work tunes us into, we'll move a tiny bit. So that first lesson that I talked about, we had our feet, and the teacher asked us, what was the smallest amount you can move the outside of your right foot? And we explored the outsides of each foot, we explored the insides, and then she said, where else is moving? And because you're in that mindful, relaxed, calm state, you begin to follow that pattern through the body. And then another day, you might take the same movement pattern, but move from a different place and initiate the movement from a different place. And how do we sense that movement pattern starting somewhere different? So more than anything else that I've ever experienced, the Feldenkrais is helping me to connect up these parts of my body that maybe weren't speaking to one another so clearly before. And then I take that into my Dalcroze work, and the whole body can respond. The whole body, it's almost like a resonance through the whole body. And because the whole body's involved, the learning is much deeper.
It's quite
Oh, sorry, Gary. Go ahead, Marius. Go ahead.
It's quite interesting. I did some Feldenkrais lessons years ago, but now I'm in the situation. Some people of you know I am in a wheelchair, and I am doing the Dalcroze without my hands and feet. It's quite interesting. I will talk about it in another meetup later to join me in my movements, how to do Dalcroze if you can't use your hands and your feet. And it makes me now realizing again, Alison, maybe I could pick up again this Feldenkrais idea, because I have to go into my body to, well, the Dalcroze goal is to make my music in a better quality, right? That's where we do Dalcroze for. And I use my body as a tool. So if you just take off my hands and my feet, which I have, well, they're there, but I don't clap, I don't walk. So it helps enormously to start more from the core. So my completely approach to Dalcroze is changing now. Not really changing, because I think I did it unaware maybe when I did the Dalcroze when I was not ill. But now there is much more awareness from the so I don't know to say it in English properly, but to benefit more from the restriction, not using well, we can do or whatever. No, you have to feel it go to the function of the body, which is available. We all have different bodies. So I think, it's interesting. It triggers me to maybe go back to that point. I hope I'm clear a little bit.
It's so lovely to hear. Thank you. I saw David's hand, and then maybe Laura after that. Yeah.
There we go. Thank you. And thank you, Alison. Thank you, both of you, Laura, as well. Alison, and may I attest, over the 7-8 years we've known each other in our classes, Alison has just transformed the way in which she embodies music. And I know it's through this Feldenkrais work, Alison. So it's lovely to hear you speak of it. And sometimes in our times together we don't have time to talk about other things. So it's nice to hear this today. I'm interested in living in a place where I have no Feldenkrais teachers. I'd just love to hear about your experiences of classes with in person and classes online. Are they vastly different, or how is that negotiated?
With Liz, so everything before the pandemic, everything was in person.
Yep.
The awareness through movement, so the classes where there would be a whole group of us in a room all on mats, Liz would guide that verbally. She might come round a tiny bit and give suggestions, but that was mainly verbally guided. And I think it works a treat online.
Yeah.
Personally, I really love it because I live in Beverley and Liz is in York and it's best part of an hour away.
Right.
And I love just tuning in for my class. I'm at home, we've got a lovely wool rug that I can lie on.
Yeah.
And afterwards, I can just stay with that. I don't need to jump in the car and drive.
Yeah.
I think that translates well. The camera is on each participant and Liz can still give little prompts to people.
Yeah.
What has been different has been the one-to-ones. So Liz works the same sort of way with the one-to-ones online. So if I take that online, it's guided. Obviously, she can't literally put her hands on.
Yeah.
Again, I've still gained an awful lot from that. I would definitely recommend giving
Yeah.
it a go.
Grand.
I've had a couple of one-to-ones in person more recently, and it's been nice to be able to have that being moved by the teacher as well.
Yeah.
But for me, the online lessons have been incredibly beneficial, and I would definitely recommend it.
Cool. Grand. Thank you. Thanks so much. It's interesting, this world of movement. Before the pandemic in Dalcroze, we wouldn't have taught online, but we can do it. And it's not the same, but it's still very valuable. So because things like this make things valuable. Thank you so much, Alison. That's grand. Good advice. I'll take it.
Thank you so much, David. Yeah, Laura, and if anyone else has any last things to chime in on, please go ahead, Laura. You're muted, just so you know.
Okay. Yeah, I want to say, I think Feldenkrais is not a music, well, I think Feldenkrais is not a music method, but we can use the principle that we learn through Feldenkrais to apply it everywhere we want. And for me, there's something similar with Feldenkrais and rhythmic taught in German system, Switzerland, where they have more focus about perception. But still, that's not the same thing. That's all very interesting areas to explore. I think Fabien was here. I don't know if he's still here.
Yes, he is still here.
I'm still here.
He wants to say something about.
Yeah, thank you, Laura, and thank you, Alison. It was very interesting, and from the very beginning, I was looking back to my career and how important it was for me to dig deep into physical experience that I could not get during the studies on the conservatory, because the subject of music and eurythmics was so time intensive that the focus on a deep bodily experience, it was there, but not enough. So I needed a lot of time and years to go in Alexander technique or in yoga or la voix humaine. But it's true what you say, Lara, and I would like to address that also to Marlies. When I studied eurythmics, the focus was not to become a better instrumentalist or a better musician, but if I would say in general, to become a better person or to develop sides of myself that I had not known at all. I remember really in the beginning of eurythmics, I realized, wow, I can do this, I can do that. So the space and the movement of myself in space changed completely. But I agree, of course, to you, Alison, that every experience that is precisely focusing on our bodily experience has a deep effect on how we play our instrument, of course. And the quality of sound, of producing our music, has a lot to do how we are sitting, how we are standing, how we are moving when we play. So I think to study eurythmics may always need, over the years, over one's whole career, to deepen the physical experience with our body. And it's true in Germany, in Switzerland, a lesson would always start with feel your feet and to take time for that. Thank you.
It is so lovely to hear about our experiences from the beginning through to where we are today. Marielias, did you have something else you wanted to add?
Well, I just thought it's so easy to integrate in Dalcroze, I think. Why not? We're working with the body. We are working with the body to pleasure the music, and just as an awareness of well, of course we can go for Feldenkrais lessons, and it's always good. Yes, we can benefit from that, but I think it's a nice reminder now, in any way for me, to integrate it a little bit more, even more.
Yes, Fabienne, please.
Just one question, because I thought to remember that Feldenkrais people also would entitle their work with Bewusstheit durch Bewegung, consciousness through movement. Isn't that the core work of Feldenkrais? And wasn't that the title, so the subtitle, let's say, consciousness through movement? And I agree. Yes, Lara, I see your hand.
Well, sorry, I just want to ask you a question, but maybe you want to continue. Sorry, you just continue. Okay. I think so. In Feldenkrais, you have group lessons and individual lessons. And group lessons logo is awareness through movement. What you say? So awareness through movement, that's group lessons. And individual lesson, one-to-one and mostly hands-on, is called a functional integration. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Got it. Thank you.
I can't believe we've done it. If there are any burning questions, now is the time, because we're almost at the end. Yes, Marielias, was that your hand? No. Okay. We are so honored every time that we all get to meet. And I am always amazed at how much more there is to learn. We're at well over 70 of these free meetups. We plan to have many more. We have this masterclass with Jerison Lee coming up. Please join us. We'd love to have you there. New voices to hear from and learn from, such exciting ways to take things in. In this forum, we have seen that so much is possible and that we are in fact growing our work and learning more and connecting better, which is part of our wish. So I am looking forward to seeing you all the next time. Check out ICDS, please. We'd love to have you. It's nice to see some past keynote speakers. Hi, David, again here. And we are going to have a great time. So please join us if you can. And if you have any questions or anything, drop us a line. If you would like to come and present at a future meetup, we'd love to hear from you. And we look forward to seeing you the next time. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Emma. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Thank you.